Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really digging into a specific passage in Genesis, chapter 4, verses 15 to 22. Our goal, well, we want to explore what happens with Cain's descendants. It's actually pretty surprising you see the beginnings of culture, of civilization, popping up where you might least expect it.
It really is a fascinating stretch of verses. And just to remind everyone where we are in the story, right before this, in verse 15, God has just put a mark on Cain.
Right, after the murder of Abel.
Exactly. And the mark is for protection, strangely enough. God says, so that no one who found him would kill him. It's this moment of, well, mercy right after the judgment.
A really complex moment. And then verse 16 hits us immediately after. It says, Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Nod. Tell us about that name. Is there significance there?
Oh, absolutely. Nod in Hebrew relates directly to the word for wandering or exile. So it's not just a place name, it's loaded. It's basically saying he settled in the land of wandering.
Wow. So his location reflects his state, exiled, restless.
Precisely. It captures that sense of being untethered, separated from God's presence. It's not just physical distance, it's an existential state, really, baked right into the geography.
That paints such a vivid picture. But then the narrative takes this completely unexpected turn in verse 17. It says, Cain made love to his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Okay, fine. But then Cain was then building a city, and he named it after his son Enoch. A city. Cain, the wanderer, the exile, builds the first city. How do we make sense of that?
That's the paradox, isn't it? I mean, you could see it a few ways. Maybe it's him trying to create his own security, his own order, now that he's outside Eden's realm, almost like digging in his heels.
The sort of self-reliance?
Perhaps, but it also points to something deeper about us, about humanity. Even when we're estranged, that impulse to create, to build, to organize, to leave a mark, it's still there. It's part of that image of God we carry. Even if it gets, distorted, we can't help but shape the world around us.
Okay, let's unpack this. The first city emerging from such an unexpected lineage. It's quite something.
It sets a precedent, for sure. This idea of human settlement, urban life, starting outside the garden.
So the city gets built, but the story doesn't stop there, does it? This lineage keeps going, and things seem to get more complex.
They really do. The genealogy in verse 18 quickly takes us down a few generations: Enoch, Irad, Mehujael, Methuselah, and then we land on Lamech.
And Lamech brings another major first.
Yes, verse 19. Lamech married two women, one named Ada and the other Zillah. This is the Bible's first recorded instance of polygamy.
Right there in Cain's line.
Right. And what's fascinating here is, well, you see how quickly human society is changing, becoming more complex, moving away from that original one man, one woman pattern we saw with Adam and Eve.
It signals a pretty rapid shift in social structures.
Definitely. New norms, maybe new power dynamics starting to emerge. Things are evolving fast.
And then Lamech's children. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Verses 20 to 22 feel like a whirlwind tour of early civilization.
Absolutely. It's like a mini explosion of culture and innovation. First, you have Ada's son, Jabal. He's called the father of those who live in tents and raise livestock.
So the beginnings of nomadic herding, organized animal husbandry.
Exactly. A foundational shift in how people lived and sustained themselves.
Then Jabal's brother, Jubal.
Jubal. He's the father of all who play stringed instruments and pipes.
The music, the arts, emerging right here.
The very origins. It's incredible. The human need for expression, for beauty, finding its voice.
And then there's Zillah's son, Tubal-Cain.
Tubal-Cain, yes. He forged all kinds of tools out of bronze and iron.
Metalworking. Technology, that's a game changer.
A massive leap. Think about what metal tools mean for building, farming, defense, everything.
So we've got organized agriculture or herding, the arts and technology, all stemming from Lamech's children, from Cain's line.
It's quite striking, isn't it? Here we are in a world clearly marked by sin, by exile from Eden, and yet, boom, you see this powerful display of human creativity, ingenuity, progress.
It shows that even, outside the garden, humanity is still creating, building, inventing, still reflecting God's image in that way.
That seems to be the implication. That drive is still there, that capacity is still present, even if the relationship with the Creator is fractured.
And it feels really significant that the Bible puts these milestones here, not, say, in the line of Seth, who comes later and is often seen as the godly line.
Yes. That's a crucial point. It really subverts our expectations. You might think all the good innovations would come from the good family.
But no. The first city, music, metal tools, they're attributed to the descendants of Cain.
And what does that tell us? Perhaps that God's gifts, the capacity for creativity, for building culture, maybe
Yeah.
they aren't restricted just to one lineage or one type of person.
That even people who seem to be wandering metaphorically or literally can contribute amazing things.
Exactly. It suggests a kind of common grace, maybe, that human potential for innovation in art isn't limited by our moral failings, even if those failings complicate how we use those gifts.
Hmm. And it sets up themes we see later, too, right? Like the tension between city life and, well, maybe a simpler life. Progress versus potential for harm.
Absolutely. These aren't just quaint origin stories. They introduce dynamics, city versus wilderness, innovation versus violence, God's purposes versus human choices that echo throughout the rest of Genesis and the whole Bible.
So bringing this down to us, to the listener today, what can we take away from this? Seeing culture's roots tangled up with Cain's line like this.
Well, it certainly makes you think, doesn't it? Our world is just as complex. Amazing innovation exists alongside deep problems. Maybe it challenges us to look for creativity and gifts in unexpected places and people we might otherwise overlook.
And it prompts reflection on our own lives, perhaps.
Definitely. These stories force us to ask, what are we building? Our choices, our creations, how do they shape the future?
Yeah. How do the things we make, the lives we build, impact those who come after us, whether those choices feel good or more challenging?
And where do we see that spark of creativity, that unexpected gift showing up around us, in our communities, maybe even in ourselves in ways we haven't fully recognized?
That's a great place to leave it for reflection. Think about that. What are you building? And how can you use your own creativity wherever you find yourself for good? Lots to chew on there. Thanks for diving deep with us today.